This week, a special look at tech for disabled people with Hero Arms, Talking Internet, and, all right, who covered the wall with donuts? One of the most important topics that we cover regularly here on Click is tech which can assist disabled people. As the cost of prototyping and innovating has come down, and as disabled people have become more involved in the design, we've seen some amazing projects over the last few years. This Monday is the UN's International Day for People with Disabilities, and so this week we're dedicating an entire episode to the area. Now we start with Kat Hawkins. She's a double amputee herself, and she's been looking at a company that's trying to bring low-cost prosthetics to children.
Lead the way.
So this is my room.
I love it.
I'm with 12-year-old Raimi having a tour of her bedroom.
This is my Pride hat, because we go to Pride every year.
Nice.
You can see an arm poking out of there. I make a lot of hats for my arm.
I love that you make that.
She was born with a shortened right forearm due to amniotic band syndrome while she was in the womb.
Have you been bullied? Have people been mean to you?
When I was in year 3, people used to bully me, and they used to go like that just to represent me, and it was horrible.
The bullying Raimi encountered meant that she felt excluded and different. But after years of dealing with these feelings, a piece of tech has hit the market, and it's making a huge difference for her confidence.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So this is my arm. So hopefully it's charged, I'm not sure.
Raimi's arm is made by Open Bionics, a startup based in Bristol.
Pick up small items.
They're bionic and myoelectric, meaning a motor is controlled by muscles on the residual limb. They've only been going for 4 years, but are already making an impact.
So this is the 3D printing room.
Oh my gosh.
And we launched the product this year, so we launched it in May, and we've had an incredible response. We've had a lot of young users tell us previously that they would go in school and they'd feel a bit ashamed of their device, and they didn't really want to wear their hook to school because it resulted in bullying. Whereas with their Hero Arm, it's like a gadget almost that they get to show off, and they get to experiment with and play with, and they get to swap the covers.
As well as offering kids the chance to design how their prosthetics look, the Hero Arm is multi-grip, offering a number of different hand movements.
You can change the grip by pressing this once, lets you know that you've engaged a new mode, so this is a pinch grip.
And away from the circuitry, the entire arm and hand is 3D printed. It's the first 3D printed arm to be medically approved and offered to children. It's over half the price of other available bionic arms, but will still cost you around £5,000. It's not currently available on the NHS either, but they're currently part of a clinical trial trying to change this. One of the biggest incentives for Open Bionics is about making prosthetics look cool, making kids superheroes. Back with Raimi, I hear firsthand how her arm has made a difference.
Did you do this?
Yeah.
And so, how does the arm kind of fit into how you see yourself?
Changes everything.
Does it?
Yeah.
Tell me why it changes everything.
Because you can do so many more things. So you can Rubik's Cube with it. You can drink with it. Makes your life better. Definitely.
And that's like the most amazing bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that you can feel as though you can live your life in the way that you want to live it.
Yeah.
Without fear, without
Yeah.
judgment. Like properly taking control of what you want.
Yeah. Especially if you're in school, it makes people back off for like bullying and things like that. So it's definitely.
Do you really think that it's made a difference in that respect?
Yeah, definitely. And You don't want this on your face.
Yeah.
That was Kat with the amazing Raimi. Of course, there are a number of companies working on prosthetics for kids. We came across another, Limitless, when we were in Florida. They make low-cost 3D printed prosthetic arms, but they're also focused on getting children to learn how to use and be comfortable with them.
3.
We designed a game around being able to use and flex their muscles in a different way that will lead to them not being discouraged when they get assigned an arm.
Tech has so much to offer in this area, whether it's made by small startups or by big multinationals. And it's these global giants that Paul Carter has been exploring in Silicon Valley, right?
Exactly. I wanted to see what these major companies were doing in this sphere of accessibility and find out how they're addressing some of these really, really big challenges.
Silicon Valley in California, home of the technology giants who increasingly often shape our daily lives. I've come here to speak with Apple, Facebook, Google and Mozilla to find out, or try at least, where we're at in the world of accessible technology. But before all that, what do we actually mean when we say accessibility? I started by asking some of the people I met what it means to them.
Accessibility is all about making the world's information and technology available to everyone, regardless of their physical or cognitive abilities.
Accessibility means making things to help people with disabilities. And so that can mean modifying existing products or software to help people, or it could mean building completely new things.
We look at accessibility as a basic human right. We love the products that we make, and we love knowing that everyone wants to use our products and can.
First up is Google, who in recent years have won plaudits for introducing accessibility information into mainstream products such as Google Maps, which now includes directional info for wheelchair users. They're hoping a new product might have similar benefits for those with visual impairments.
One example of a technology that we're working on is called Lookout. Lookout is an app that provides a continuous audio stream to blind users or users with visual impairments.
Scissors at 12 o'clock.
That helps them understand the objects and text that are in their environments around them.
But why are they doing this?
There are over 1 billion people in the world with a disability, according to estimates by the World Health Organization. That's 1 billion users. That's a really large market, and it's people.
With over 1 billion devices worldwide running iOS, Apple are arguably now one of the biggest sellers of accessible technology in the world. I managed to secure rare access to their base in Cupertino. I was keen to find out just how much involvement disabled people have in the design process, and what, or indeed who, drives the agenda.
We stand by the mantra that is something in the disability community, which is nothing about us without us. So as we build our technology, we have employees who are members of these communities and who are reliant upon this technology in their daily use of it, who are helping us to make decisions about what we build. We also look to the communities themselves. We get in tons of feedback from individuals across a wide spectrum of disability areas who share with us their thoughts.
So it's brilliant that these companies are making their products more accessible. Do you think there's enough motivation for them to give it the emphasis that it needs?
Well, all of them that I spoke to were very keen to stress that this is absolutely central to their mission. It's part of their DNA, which to a point I believe, but I think we need to be a little bit cynical about this. At the end of the day, as Eve mentioned in that piece there are over 1 billion of us in the world. We are a huge market, and that means ultimately a lot of money.
And do you get a sense that disabled people are involved in the process?
To a point. On our travels, we met lots of disabled engineers, coders, developers, but one thing I noticed was a lack of disabled people at the very top level of this. Now, I'm not saying that everyone working in the accessibility sphere needs to have a disability or have lived experience, but it did seem something that at the very top level seemed to be missing, and I think that needs addressing.
It's safe to say that Facebook are never far from a headline, but on accessibility they have ambitions to make things better. I spoke to Matt King, an accessibility specialist at Facebook and one of their first blind engineers, about the challenges faced by engineering accessibility into such a sprawling product.
There are all the things that people are sharing on Facebook. And of course, as we all know, one thing that's really common are images and photos. And if somebody shares a whole bunch of photos on Facebook and they don't have the time or even the awareness that they should provide some descriptions of those photos, then we have a problem in that, I could be able to see that a conversation is taking place, but have no idea really what that conversation is about.
To help overcome this problem, Facebook have developed a process called AAT, or Automatic Alt Text, that can tell users the contents of images.
Outdoor, cloud, foliage, flag, tree.
Automatic alt text is using machine vision to understand what's in a photo and then give the user some idea of that.
Jewelry, smiling, 19 likes, 3 comments like.
But as technology changes and advances, are we at risk of creating new and more complex access issues?
Technology changes very quickly, so you can have something that works really well for you one day, and then the next is completely unavailable to you. And so that's where, trying to keep up with the pace of change of technology is always been a challenge within the field of accessibility, and that challenge isn't getting smaller.
Although perhaps without the giant reputation of their Silicon Valley neighbours, non-profit Mozilla, creators of the Firefox browsers among others, are working at the cutting edge of accessibility research. One area they're particularly exploring is speech recognition. They've developed a product known as Firefox Listen that uses speech to navigate the web instead of traditional input devices.
Firefox Listen is basically asking a question. I mean, like all good research, right? You're asking a question. And that question is, how do we bring the web to the world of speech? And how do we bring speech to the world of the web? Another way of putting it is, what does it mean when you have the internet in your ears?
What surprised you during your visits to these places?
I think we think of these companies as being incredibly secretive, adversarial, competing against each other. The one thing that I found most surprising was that in the accessibility sphere, they are actually working together. They're sharing information, they're sharing knowledge, because they understand that that's the best way to actually solve some of these problems.
And of course there will be new problems and new challenges as we invent new technology.
Exactly, it's a little bit like painting the fourth bridge, right? You get to the end, you have to start all over again. And that's the thing, exactly as you say, as we are creating these new tech, we are creating new accessibility problems, but it's about being quick enough and reactive enough and trying to anticipate what those might be and keep ahead of the curve.
The world of accessibility is ever expanding, and there's little doubt that huge strides have been made in recent years. But where do we go from here? And perhaps most importantly, how do we ensure that disabled people are part of that journey?
There will be so many ways to innovate on these things that we're working on and other things that we haven't even started working on yet. The advances in artificial intelligence are just staggering right now, and the ability of machines to perceive the world is just getting better day by day.
These things are going to happen. There will be people using VR glasses and AR glasses, and there will be people talking to their devices and their phones, and there will be people who are working with the connected devices around them. And we want to make sure that there is someone focused on user agency and putting the user first in terms of how we do that.
I've never been more optimistic about the field of accessibility than I am now, just because of the trends that we've been talking about. There's more awareness of its value. There's more awareness of how it has a positive impact on society. There are more companies that are willing to invest what needs to be invested in order to realize our vision of a society that's fully inclusive.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week that Uber was fined almost £400,000 for letting hackers steal data on 2.7 million UK customers in 2016. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg angered representatives from 9 different countries by refusing to appear in front of a select committee into disinformation and fake news. Facebook's Vice President of Policy Solutions appeared in Zuckerberg's place. It was also the week that Audi and Airbus showed off a flying taxi concept at a drone show in Amsterdam. And yes, the concept is either small or very, very far away. Something which is definitely far away is NASA's InSight rover, which this week touched down on the surface of Mars. Cue excited scenes from NASA employees as it began its mission to study the red planet's interior and even take a cheeky selfie or two. And it's not quite RoboCop, but Tokyo can still boast its very own patrol droid, helping keep the peace at Seibu Shinjuku Station. Called PerseusBot, it uses AI and access to the station's security cameras to look for suspicious activity, such as unattended bags. And finally, more mecha news. A restaurant in Kathmandu, Nepal has gone completely digital, with orders placed via touchscreen and food delivered by robot waiters. Fantastic news for skinflints. I suspect these guys won't need tipping.
I'm Lucy, and this is my guide dog Olga. I'm a YouTuber, freelance journalist and disability rights advocate, and as a blind woman I use apps to help me with everyday tasks in order to be as independent as possible.
And today we're going to test out some new blind apps.
The first app I'm testing is Welcome by Neatbox.
What it does is address the issue of accessibility in businesses.
When visiting somewhere for the first time, it can be stressful, but this technology should alert venues in advance of what I need during my trip. Today, I'm visiting the first bank in England to try out this app, and I've set up a profile and booked an appointment. Now I'm going to see if their location beacons, known as a geofence, will alert the bank that I'm about to arrive.
Good morning, Lucy.
Morning,
My
lovely
name
to
is
meet
Ray.
you.
Hello, hi. It's a slight bend here.
Fabulous.
The email I received told me what time you'd be coming and what your immediate needs were. So it explained to me that you had visual impairment, that you would have a guide dog.
I really do like this app and it's suitable for all disabilities, but the tech is so new that there still are a few teething problems with it. Up next is the Big Spender app, and it has nothing to do with banks.
I'm wanting to spend Olga today, so I'm going to go on the Big Spender app, which will show me, hopefully, where green patches are so she can go for a busy.
And side note, the sped up voice you can hear is not part of the app. It's a screen reader that helps me use my phone.
109 metres away. Right, we'll get going.
I usually have someone helping me to take Olga to the park, so this app could give me so much more independence.
So confusing, because when I've done it before, it sort of works, but this time it's still telling me that I'm 109 metres away.
3 hours 20 minutes.
3 hours 20 minutes? Have I done something wrong? Oh no, it's still telling me. Oh! So it's telling me that grass is 109 metres away? Yeah, I can feel pain. Oh! Oh! Okay, this wasn't the app, but it's Olga.
Unfortunately, the app also can't tell the difference between a public space and someone's front garden.
Bit of a fail, isn't it, Og? Hey?
Hopefully we'll have more success with our final app, SelfieX.
And what better place to try it is in the Selfie Factory.
This is not made specifically for people with disabilities, but the voice controls could help me take that perfect photo.
Okay, so I've just loaded up the app. I'm gonna turn my phone round. And it'll tell me right.
Say cheese. Done. Down.
Okay.
Right.
Olga has no idea what's going on.
Say cheese. Down. Right. Down. Say cheese.
So we've tested out some great apps today and some not so great ones. And I think the blind tech world is getting better and better every day. But I think some apps need some work, and the selfie one is definitely a go situation for me.
Down.
Olga, Olga, no, don't get the donuts, darling.
Say cheese. Say cheese.
We're really sorry about those donuts. Were they real? I don't know. Anyway, that was Lucy Edwards and Olga. Now, if you are visually impaired, driving a car is obviously currently impossible. But as autonomous vehicles start to appear over the horizon, so do the chances of becoming more mobile and independent if you're blind. We asked Invictus Games athlete Jamie Weller to try a new car that's under development by Jaguar Land Rover.
When I lost my sight, I was told by my grandparents, well, you can't see now, you can't do. Those words have always stuck in my head. I always look at things and say, well, how can I do this? Rather than saying, oh, I can't do that, I'm not going to do it. So it's about a positive mindset. I've pushed back boundaries in what visually impaired people can do. I've been to Deloitte and become the first blind chartered accountant, which doesn't sound that sexy. And I've been in the Invictus Games in Toronto, winning 4 bronze medals on track. It's a standard Range Rover Sport, that's right, but it's been adapted and bolted on around the car. You've got various sensors, radars, front and back, and these LiDAR sensors.
Ooh. Okay, here we go.
Is that you turning that wheel?
No, this is all the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Did that accelerate itself?
Yeah, this is all the car.
My first reaction is it's pretty impressive actually. I mean, now I feel like I'm just in a normal car with Jim driving, but obviously I don't think he is driving, or he's playing. But no, I mean, I think the technology, is just going to get better and grow. Is this test being used as part of the research, or is it just a PR?
No, this is all research that we're gathering data, every single run we do. So now cars are cutting across in front of us because of the weight of the lights. The car's not reacting because they're driving away.
This is coming off that front radar thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's braking a bit because he's slowing down to turn.
Yeah.
There we go, a bit more. So all of this has been from learning we've done from being on the roads. It's critical testing and data gathering to be able to get progress the autonomous car.
I'd like the car to tell me where I am on my road, what junction I'm coming up to, what shops, where I'm passing, what's my ETA, when am I going to my destination, all that type of stuff would be extremely useful for me to come into my head so I can understand what's going on. For me to be able to get around independently and get in a car and go and take my children to school, pick them up, or go to the gym without having to get public transport, it's going to be a massive step forward. My wife always drives the kids around from parties to school and all the different clubs. And for me to be able to do that and be part of the family and function, and it's going to be a massive step forwards. Not just being able to get from A to B for myself, but so I think it's fantastic. So we've stopped here.
Yeah.
Are there any objects around us? If I was to get out of this car, I still have a guide dog. My Freddie would be in the back.
Yes. Either it'll be in a space where, yes, it's wide enough to open doors, but it might be that someone's gone and, I don't know, put a rubbish bin in the way or a cone in the way, and so the car saying that it's clear to open the doors is actually a very good thing to do.
Yeah. Today, accessibility and tech is phenomenal. When I lost my sight in 1991, the level of accessibility and level of tech was zilch compared to what it is today. But there's still so much room for improvement. Don't get me wrong, every day's a challenge. It doesn't get easy, it's hard, but life wouldn't be interesting if it was easy, would it?
That was Jamie Weller, and we will continue, of course, to watch developments in all of these areas. And all the companies that we featured today do have accessibility web pages, so we'll put links to those on our social media channels. We live on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at BBC Click. So if you need those links, that's where you should go. That's it for now, though. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.